Okay, but something's got to be done. Can I ask you a question? Is there any possibility, I don't know if it's available by law, is there some way that you as the mayor could have something like a telephone directory with a breakdown of all the departments in the city, who the people are, how much they make a week, how much they make a month, how much they make a year. And I think a lot of people in Malden would be very surprised if they got a copy of the payroll in your own office. In your own office, people don't know how many work. How many work for you, full-time and part-time? Right in the mayor's office. That you don't swap back and forth to the housing authority or redevelopment authority or whatever. 5.5. By God, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. But you told me in public it's 5.5. I'll take your word for it. But I think the payroll, as a businessman that you said you were going to be, it's imperative that you, as the chief, should do what you said you would do. The first thing you said you would do was, you, in a bad case, you would freeze hiring. I don't know if that's been done or not. Who would ever know?
Let me answer the question.
Yes.
I said it earlier tonight. When I started...
I wasn't here and I'm sorry. That's my fault.
When we're talking about expenses and how we spend the money, when I started in 1996, right up through today, we have the same payroll, not the payroll, but not the cost. But we have the same number of positions in every department, and we have fewer in City Hall and fewer in DPW. But in Fire Department, Police Department, Library, McFadden Manor, all of City Hall offices, and the DPW. In entire city government employment, there are 200 less employees, over a number of 1,400 than there were when I started. So we haven't added any. We've allowed some attrition where we can. And as I said earlier, the amount of money that we invest in the public schools is mandated by the state. So that spending is done here.
And however, the amount of money.
Yeah, the money is gone.
Money has gone skyrocketing.
Well, no, I agree, disagree with you, but you're entitled to your opinion.
It is skyrocketing. I'd say in the last 10 years. You've only been here 13, so it took you 3 to find out how much the payroll is going to be. However, now that you know, what is going to be done about the payroll? The payroll has to be taken care of in order to make the tax system work. If that's not taken care of, the only thing we can expect to get is more taxes. More taxes. And I don't think, as strong as the Democratic Party is in this city, that they would dare try for an override. I only wish it would happen. That way, maybe the politicians in the city would learn something. That's the only way people would have a way of telling you people that you're gone overboard, you're spending too much money. Because they listen to you, but you do what you think is right, and that's your job and your prerogative. But they are the ones that have to approve it. 7 or 8 councilors. They have to say yes. And it just dribbles down further and further and further. And what happens? Here's my wallet. It's not empty yet, but it's getting there. 73 years in Malden. I'm a retiree with a wife, and taxes. The biggest thing I have to worry about is my taxes. Everything else is leveled off. Wait a minute, I'm not finished.
I just wanted to comment on the tax comment.
Well, you can when I get through.
Go ahead, go right
Do people that are in government really care? That's the biggest thing. Do they really care about their constituents, or are they in it for what they can get out of it? And I'm not directing that to you, Mr. Mayor. I'm directing that to those that it should be directed at. They know who they are. I don't have to use names. But something's got to be done. This should have been put on the ballot. I don't care if the ballot was going to come up in November. You should have waited to have this put on the ballot, and then we wouldn't be worrying about whether 7 or 8 councilors vote on it, and then holy hell breaks loose. You have a meeting here. Imagine if you had a meeting in every ward. God, I don't know. Where are we going? I yield to you, sir.
Yeah, on the taxes, Mr. Cohen, I handed out a slip. Again, I know you said you weren't here at the beginning, but, you know, I know every cent that everybody pays is important, but, you know, in one of the factors in analyzing whether or not we thought it was right to ask for more, try to point out that we have the 222nd lightest tax burden on taxpayers in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for any municipality out of 351 cities and towns. So our average bill is below just about every other municipality's. Even last year, we finally had a lower average tax burden than the city of Everett, and that has never been the case for generations of real estate taxes. But we have the second lowest of all urban communities in the entire Commonwealth. So my point is, I did say that I was going to try to run it like a business. I believe I have done the best with whatever resources have come in over the past 12 years. The resources are drying up on the state side, except for support for public schools. And our community is now faced with the issue of whether or not, I don't know if Mike is still here, we want to pay any more for what we have, or we just think that we cannot pay a cent more, even considering what we pay now and what other communities pay. I understand. Somebody said if they're jumping off a bridge, don't jump off with them. But in comparison, if we think that we're trying to be very efficient with every dollar that is given to us, and we really do believe that without new revenue, the quality of life and home values right behind it will suffer in the city, then, you know, maybe we need to have this ward-by-ward dialogue, and everybody can weigh in and say, look, not a dime more, we don't care what the consequences are. Many people have voiced that opinion already tonight, and the councilors, as I said, have attended 2 of these meetings, and some other people said the same thing in other meetings. And we can take that up as we go forward. There's a new budgetary year next year, and maybe what you are saying is the predominant sentiment in this community, that people, regardless of consequences, don't want to pay any more money for anything, and therefore the city, whether it's me or some other mayor in another council, should deal with the implementation of living within whatever revenue is there. I explained earlier, taking everything into account, I believe that we are justified in our effort to ask for more and to put it to good use. And if we continue to hear that that's not the case, money is either not being well spent, or we don't care what it takes to put it to good use, we don't want to spend any more, I'm sure the 7 men and the woman who voted with me may reconsider that come next year's budget implementation. And then we can begin dealing with the corresponding follow-up. Those are the stock choices. I believe that we should continue to invest. I believe this school is important. I believe we're being efficient in running the school. I believe we're being efficient in running our police department and our fire department. And we're faced with supporting ourselves. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts is not going to do it for us. So either we do it here, or you go find the next cheapest place to live if you don't like the fact that there's another $100 to have to pay. That's an option. Or we just let the city, in the long run, kind of dry up and blow away. I'm not going to do that. That's my position, and when I run for re-election, I'm glad to stand on it, and stand on everything else that I've done in the 12 years previous.